welcome Dakota, Elle, and Brittany, who are here because they have a production company together called Lewellen Pictures.
Yep.
And it's what, 2 years old now?
Well, we were
4
talking
years.
about this.
Yeah.
We sort of started a plan to formalize it in around 2020.
So 4 years
Yeah,
now.
4 years.
That's right. And Dakota and Elle, you guys seem very familiar to us because you've been working been in our living rooms and on our big screens since you were literal children.
Yep.
Dakota, you started at age 5?
Yeah, I was. Yes, I came to LA and I turned 6 like 12 days later. So.
So 5 and 360 days. And Elle, you started at 2, right?
Yes, my main job was playing Dakota at a younger age in like flashback scenes and stuff. So if you needed anyone for that, I was the one to call.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And Brittany, you've been their manager, right?
Yes.
For dogs years, 17 years?
About
something
17, yeah.
I was like 9. Yeah.
No.
No, I've just known her for, she's like family. Brittany is family.
Yeah, I don't even know whether to take that seriously, but actually that is possible.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
So, it's just so extraordinary to be able to watch people grow up on screen, and then you continue to have these really fascinating careers. Dakota, you're in 2 major series this year in Ripley. You're in A Perfect Couple.
Do the dance, do the dance.
Elle, you're in a movie that's coming out called A Complete Unknown right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a bit of that in a little bit. We're going to show a little bit of both your work.
Great.
But let's talk first about why, since you have such thriving acting careers, why you felt the need to actually even start a production company, because I can't imagine that you're short of work or short of offers. Doesn't seem like that. I'm going to tell you how many movies they made later, but it's unbelievable. But let's talk about why you even felt like it was necessary.
I think that having started so young, being an actor and being in this industry is a huge part of who we are. Brittany also started her career very young as well. And so I think, as you...
19?
Yeah, she was
19?
19. She still is 19.
So you look only...
So I think as we, worked and gained experience and worked with other people and saw how this industry works behind the scenes, I think we had a desire to have more control of the process and the projects because I think another difficult part of being an actor, and especially something that I've experienced a lot because I started so young, is people have this idea of who you are and what you do and what you can do, and can sometimes put you in certain boxes. And so I think by us starting this company and finding our own material and developing it and being a part of these projects from the ground up, we kind of get to take a little bit more control, push our own limits ourselves, which is exciting. And also my favorite thing to do is kind of subvert people's ideas of who I am and do surprising things. And so I get to kind of do that with this company, and I think Elle does too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one thing is that you're so fortunate to have each other, obviously, and you seem like you get along like peas in a pod. Do they get along like peas?
They do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that makes it harder for you to kind of counterbalance in any way, because there's an energy there that is, and a bond that's so unbreakable between them.
It's so interesting because I've been working with them for so long. It's just very intuitive. It's like one of them gravitates more towards a project more than the other, or, I think you guys are actually quite different in a lot of ways. But it's just kind of like ingrained in my head for so many years that it's very instinctual.
And we just have such a trust, all of us, and it really does feel like a family unit. So I think working together, it came out in an organic way. It's like, obviously we should be doing this, and even
Doing it together.
Yeah, doing it
also.
together, and like even our text threads and our emails. There's a casualness to it that I think is also needed for passion sometimes. Like it breeds, even our disagreements. I mean, we don't always completely agree, but I think it's nice because there are people that we trust, and so you're more likely to listen to them, you're like, okay, maybe I should take a step back here because they are people, opinions that I value and love.
So if you're thinking about, okay, you want to explode expectations, you want to maybe zag, and everybody else thinks you should be zigging, how would you define, 2 questions. One is, how would you define what Lewellen Pictures is looking for in terms of creating content? And 2, is there something that distinguishes a company that's created by women and focused on women-led roles or projects? Is there something special about that, given that you've done much of your career in a male-led environment?
Yeah, well, I think in general at the company, our desire is to explore the gray areas of humanity and to not go for the easy truths and to kind of find the complexity that all people have, and especially women. And, a lot of our projects are, there's a role for either Elle and I in some of them. And so, of course, always trying to find, to create roles that are complex and layered and about sometimes difficult women or difficult stories or things that are uncomfortable subjects. I think that's a desire that we have and that we always really look for.
But also to dip our hands into other mediums too. I mean, we produced Mastermind, Think Like a Killer, which was a docu-series on Hulu, and we also did a podcast called One Click. And so it's been really interesting, through the process of producing, to learn just how the different mediums work, because we don't want to, again, be put in a box of just TV or film. I think it's been very exciting and we have another project that's coming up. It's another true crime docu-series, because that was very fun to work with.
What's that about?
Dr. Burgess.
We can't say
it. we have a lot of different projects coming up and books that we can't completely talk about, but but yes, also one is a book that we are going to be in together. So
Can you say?
No.
Sorry, Sharon.
I know. We were talking about this earlier, and we were like, gosh. But, we do have the Paris Hilton memoir as well. We got the rights to that, so we've been working with,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
Producing with Paris Hilton is
Which one of you is playing Paris?
well, we haven't figured that out yet.
We're in development. It's early. We can't,
Is it like a
can't say
flip a
very early.
coin? Is it you auditioned for Brittany?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll decide.
Yeah, exactly. Brittany actually holds all the power here. So.
I think it'll be really dependent on what makes sense for the story.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. What stage
she's
in
had
her
such
life.
an
What
incredible
about that
career.
story do you like?
Talk about subverting people's expectations. I think Paris is such an amazing example of that with, her story that she's now been telling and sort of the behind the scenes of what she was going through.
Her childhood.
Her childhood traumas, the things she went through as a teen, and also just, being kind of the first influencer in LA in the early 2000s and the trials and tribulations of that and the armor that she had to kind of create.
Yeah, I think in the memoir it really explains kind of what her behavior in a lot of ways. I mean, a lot of it was PTSD and the tabloids, especially of that time in the early 2000s, were so horrible to her. I mean, we live in a different time, thank goodness that now she can come out and really tell her story. But I think, again, how Dakota was talking about, not the easy truths and the gray areas. We want to subvert people's expectations. This is kind of the theme of the thing, but I produced The Girl from Plainville, which that was but that was a show that I also felt really proud of, especially Brittany and I, because Brittany was there every day on set, and I really felt very much in the producer role on that set, and I think it was, we talked a lot about Michelle Carter and how we didn't want to just retell this case in the way the media knew about it. We wanted to dig deeper into the psyche of these 2 teenagers who really, and kind of figure out actually how it ended up going so wrong. And I felt very kind of powerful on that set. Because I love editing, and I think also a part of this experience and having our own production company, it's been very exciting to see that side and get to watch the edits of the shows. And I mean, that also started on the grade, but being sent the dailies and each night to really, because also when you're doing a show, it's, you know, in real time, you're actually learning what the show is and you're watching it grow because you're getting each episode and you can, I mean, editing, gosh, you can carve it any which way. And so especially that was such a tonal tightrope to walk. And so, yeah, that, I really like watching that.
That was a very cool, portrayal. That
Oh,
the
thank you.
story was amazing. You guys like true crime?
Dakota,
true
that's
crime.
her favorite.
Yeah.
Like that is her thing. She's watched all of that, every show that comes out.
I do.
Everybody's like scared of me. She's
now.
like the SNL like murder show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
What is your favorite true crime show, like, that you
Ooh.
watch obsessively?
Oh.
And then we're going to get a hint.
Like in the
what-
documentaries? Or,
Yeah.
Oh, well, I love cults. So my
Mother God.
favorite was,
Love Has Won. Which
Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Does this work, so I think that you guys said that you have currently 7 TV shows in development and
Yes.
7 films in development?
8.
I think it's
8,
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
we spoke last week.
There's another one, Sharon.
You've been busy. How do you find material? Do you pass it around? How do you decide? Do you all have to vote? Does everybody get a vote? Like, how does it work?
Well, we also work with Kate Davis, who's a part of our team as well, and she's kind of head of development and always scouring the internet and reading, you know, the best books of the time and articles. And so she, you know, will email us with things that she thinks that we might be interested in. And
Or sometimes I'll see a random thing.
I'll be like a Vanity Fair article, like something on Instagram.
I'll
like,
see a
what is this?
random thing on Instagram and like send it to Brittany or Kate and be like, can we do anything with this? Like, you know, it's kind of, I think we have our 4 brains on and looking at all times, and we're all very different people and have different tastes and gravitate towards different things. And so
And I hope it grows to not just, you know, films that or TV that we are starring in. You know,
Yeah,
obviously that's
totally.
the goal.
yeah.
But we just tend to gravitate towards stories about women, and it kind of
Yeah.
becomes an opportunity that it could be one of them starring in. But yeah,
Yeah.
Dakota always says she wants to make a movie about a 7-year-old man.
Oh, really?
I wanted to do something unexpected.
There you go. Well, let's take a beat and take a look at some of your recent work. We
Great.
have a clip of yours from Ripley, Dakota. What was that?
We were saying expect the unexpected, which is
We're
a
also
Big
Big Brother
reference,
fans.
reality show. Oh, really? Let's dip our hands into reality show television.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
really?
Yeah.
That's where we want to be.
Not of us.
This is getting out of control. I'm not in control of this conversation anymore. Okay. We're going to go to a clip.
Yeah.
Perfect.
From the series Ripley that you're in which you play Marge.
Yes.
Sherwood.
Marge Sherwood.
Can we take a second and just show that?
Yeah.
So creepy. So creepy. That series got a lot of attention, massive critical acclaim. Did you talk about what you enjoyed about working on that series and reprising this role that had been so famously played
Yeah.
by Gwyneth before?
Well, I was relieved that I wasn't being tasked with reprising, you know,
Exactly.
you know. So it was going to be, you know, Steve Zalian's version of Ripley and a limited series format. So you had more time with each of the characters, which I was very excited to be a part of. And Steve is one of the most detailed, brilliant people that I've ever worked with, and he kind of pushed me to a new place. I mean, I'm always trying to learn and challenge myself, but I also have been doing this a long time and have a lot of confidence in what I do and in myself. And he kind of challenged me to find something further and deeper and exploring kind of all the things that are not said. And it was really a life-changing experience. I'm very grateful to have been
Really?
part of it. Yeah.
In what way did it change your life?
Well, it was a long filming process. It was around 9 months for me, which was it was, you know, that's a long time. And you know, as we were in Italy and in all of these beautiful places, and there was still kind of the pandemic going on, and so there was a little bit of isolation that I sort of felt for the first time that in a working environment. I usually like being alone and like traveling, and for the first time I felt a little bit lonely, I think, and isolated, and I think it almost kind of mirrored a little bit of what Marge was experiencing, because she's kind of being spun this web by, Andrew's character Ripley, and is kind of isolated in her own mind of knowing that he's lying, but not, kind of not knowing how to get out of it. And so obviously I wasn't, being spun a web of lies while I was working, but I still kind of could grip onto that a little bit. Mm-hmm. It was challenging in all the best ways. That's really it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
In fairness and in truth, I could spend an hour with each of you talking about your work, but so this is going to be extremely truncated, and I apologize. But I do want to show a clip from Elle's new film, which is called A Complete Unknown, and it's the story of Bob Dylan as he comes to New York and finds himself and finds his path to stardom, and you play his girlfriend.
Yes, Sylvie. Yeah, she's based on Suze Rotolo,
Yes.
Who is Bob Dylan's real-life girlfriend, and she's on the Freewheelin' album cover with him. But Bob Dylan himself, the one thing he wanted was for Suze's name to be changed in the script. So she's not a fictional character. She really is based on Suze.
Changed her name.
Yes, out of privacy, because she never wanted to be a public figure, and she's passed now, and so out of respect, that's what Bob wanted, and she obviously really means a lot to him still. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Let's show a quick clip from your new film, A Complete Unknown. So first of all, I love that clip because it really gives you a sense of the film, the sense of freedom, and that it just captures the spirit of the time so beautifully. And Jim Mangold, I think, did a great job. And
It's amazing.
yeah. Was it fun?
So much fun. Yeah, I mean, I remember, they recreated the West Village, 60s West Village on these New Jersey streets, because obviously West Village in New York doesn't quite look the same anymore, but just to be immersed in that world, and obviously Timothy's so extraordinary in the movie, and hearing him, because that's him singing, obviously he sang everything live, and my first day on set, I was an audience member, and he sang A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, but he came out, and he actually gave us a full-on concert, as Bob Dylan, and the camera was just on my back, but I remember tearing up, because it was just, he's a friend of mine, we worked together before, and so seeing him accomplish this and this character in such a beautiful way, because it's not a caricature of Bob Dylan. I'm a real big Bob Dylan fan, and I have been for a long time. It doesn't sound true when you say it's like, oh, you're just saying that for the movie, but I really had.
You really was.
I really was.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to have posters on my wall because of our wallpaper in my room growing up, but I had a cork board, and it was all Bob Dylan, and so I was a harsh critic. I was like, what is Timmy gonna do? And he just blew me away, because it's not a caricature. It's a real blend of him and Bob, and so. Yes.
Okay, so I have to ask each of you, when you see Elle in a performance like that, what do you say to her, and sort of what does it feel like?
Yeah,
You haven't seen it yet.
Well, I haven't seen this movie yet, but just from
I have. It's amazing.
I know. I cannot wait to see it. I'm really excited. But even just I can't even really see the screen, but just from the back, knowing the music and Elle and the whole thing, it kind of makes me emotional. Always, when Elle's in anything, it makes me feel it deeper, because I'm so proud of her and how talented she is, and she's she never can fully disappear into a character totally for me as her sister, she always does an amazing job, but I'm always going to see my little sister a little bit, and so it makes me
And I want to ask you, Elle, the same thing. So when you see Dakota in a dark movie like Ripley, or something and you started on set with her, so what does it feel like for you?
No, well, there have been times when, I remember when I was a young girl and I watched this movie she did, Now Is Good, and she had cancer in that film, and she was a cancer patient, and again, because it was my sister, I had a real traumatic reaction after that premiere and the screening. I was uncontrollably sobbing. Obviously, the acting, but it's something felt on a deeper level, you're saying, watching my sister go through these things. And I mean, I'm doing this job. I'm an actor because my sister started before me, and I watched her, you know, and I wanted to do exactly what my big sister wanted to do. So I always, you know, that's what I wanted.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Dakota and Elle Fanning and Brittany Kahan Ward, thank you guys so much for being here.